Because usually this dies halfway through. So we want to be ready for that. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesha Sunnavari Paskachada Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more technical thing. Where is that bag, Mukunda? Because in that bag is a clock. So it'll keep us on track. Anyone know where that bag with a projector is? No. I know the English language. There's a bag with a projector. Where's Mukunda?
Right next to your left foot.
To my left foot. No. Mukunda. Square, box, bag, computer. Where's Mukunda? He'll find it. So we need Mukunda. Well, we'll just start. Of course, we're honoring Krishna's lifting of Govardhan Hill. This is New Govardhan. Our deities are Radha Giridhari. It is only appropriate, even though we're all feeling the pressure of COVID, this is a chance to get a little shelter, a little relief. So, Govardhan, of course, is known as Haridas Varyadas. He's the best of the servants of Hari. It's said that Govardhan Hill is shaped like a peacock, and the two eyes are Radhakund and Shyamakund. So, this is just to give you a little setup of the mood. This is from the Devas when they're flying over to offer their respects to Vrindavan and Darshan of Govardhan Hill. This is how they see coming into Govardhan Hill. The one time Radharani in the spiritual world in Goloka asked that, Krishna, why don't you make a special place where we can perform our pastimes? So, meditating on pleasing Srimati Radharani with a special pastime place from the heart of Krishna came Govardhan Hill. So Govardhan Hill actually manifests out of the heart of Krishna to please Srimati Radharani. So that's its esoteric origin. Now we can talk a little about the history. That either sit or stand, but best to sit and not wander. Yeah, thank you. So Krishna said to Srimati Radharani, it's time for us to descend. Krishna comes, scheduled incarnations, scheduled appearance. Of course, Krishna's the original avatari, he's the source of all avatars. So, there we go. Thank you. Of course, Bhakti Glenn, I think you need to put the battery in it and set it to the right time. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. That would help. So Radharani said, but I'm not going to be happy coming down to earth without Vrindavan and without Govardhan Hill. Krishna said, don't worry, I've made all arrangements. Everything will be there as in Goloka, so in Gokula, in Brajabhumi. So Govardhan Hill, just like when Krishna appears, all of these eternal associates also line up. So all the different pastime places, they all lined up. And Govardhan appeared as the son of the king of the Himalayas. So, I think we heard this morning, Raj was saying that, of course, Krishna, he moves in his own way for his own purposes. and he has his own, this causes this, that causes that. In our little vision, what can we actually see? Well, why doesn't Krishna do this, or why did this happen? But there's a whole divine choreography that moves this and that, all for the ultimate benefit of everyone individually and for the universe and all establishment of Dharma. So, Palasta Muni, he was practicing his meditation near Bihar, and it's flat. Sit or stand, don't wander. So what to do? It was flat, and he happened to be visiting the Himalayas, and he saw the beautiful Govardhan hill, and he thought, this is what I need. I have the Ganga, I have so many other things, but we have no nice mountain. So if this mountain would be so perfect for my meditation. So he asked Govardhan's father, Drona, the king of the Himalayas, that please you just give me your son. I'd like to bring your son for my meditation. Now Palasta Muni, if I didn't say, was the yogi who was asking, and the rishi. And he was a bit like Durvasa Muni. He's not someone you want to get upset because he has a little bit of a short fuse there. So he agreed, but Govardhan didn't want to go. But knowing the pastimes of the Lord and having faith in the arrangement of Krishna, he said, well, all right, I'll go with you. But wherever you put me down, that's where I'm going to stay. No problem. Palasta Muni is a great yogi. He managed to carry Govardhan like Hanuman. He was flying with Govardhan hill. Somehow or other, when he was over Vrindavan, just like we have Maharaj Parikshit, although he was a rishi, a Raj rishi, somehow or other he became overwhelmed by anger, and that caused the ultimate, byproduct of that is Bhagavatam was spoken. He was cursed to die, and the sages assembled, Sukadev spoke, and we got Bhagavatam. So in the same way, how is it that Palasta Muni was overwhelmed by the call of nature, but Krishna's arrangement? So had to answer the call of nature. He put Govardhan hill down, did his business, came back. Govardhan hill, he couldn't move 1 inch. Which goes to show later on in Giridhari, in Govardhan Leela, that it's not just some mundane mystic power, that Krishna was a great yogi. Because even the greatest of yogis, one of the greatest of yogis, Palasta Muni, could not move Govardhan hill 1 inch. So that's how Govardhan hill arrived in Vrindavan from the Himalayas. And Palasta Muni, he was so angry that he cursed it, that you're going to shrink. We've heard 1 mustard seed. Sometimes some people say a sesame seed, but you really can't quibble over the size. You're going to shrink that much. Now, as a sidelight, you can do this at home, kids. I forgot to say, we want to thank the kids and the families who made all these nice little. You can do a virtual parikram of Govardhan Hill. They made all these replicas of the different holy places. There's large size, and they're also shown here on the Govardhan Hill when you can circumambulate. So we should mention don't be slow. Come on up. We want to mention because there was a lot of work went in this, and the parents and good guidance, and it's a nice meditation. So thank you very much. So who?
I would like to thank all the students, all the kids from the Sunday schools, particularly Sangeeta Mataji and her husband Aditya Prabhu, 2 kids, Shraya Akshara, also the Sunday school teacher, and my wife, Varsana Devidasi, and Govardhan and Govinda.
So thank you. So we're meditating on Govardhan Hill today, but they've been meditating on Govardhan Hill for, I don't know how long it's taken to create all these things, so. And just as a sidelight, my kids grew up in the Gurukula system. They're now 40 plus. And what they remember the most is the crafts projects and the plays. And it helped them develop a real love for Krishna and a real appreciation of Krishna's pastime. So they remember these things. So thanks to the parents and thanks to the kids. So, Govardhan Hill was cursed by Palasta Muni to shrink 1 mustard seed a day. Well, that doesn't seem like much. Sadhaputa Prabhu, one of the founding members of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, double PhD in statistics and theoretical physics, he said, well, let me figure that out. And he got a mustard seed and he lined up how many 12 mustard seeds make 1 inch, by the way, in case you were wondering. So, and he calculated the whole thing, how long ago this pastime happened, previous yuga, and calculated the whole thing. And he came up that Govardhan Hill was 16 miles high. Now, in the Garga Samhita, I just read yesterday that Govardhan Hill, I forget the length, it's certain length, and 64 and then 8 yojanas, or 8 miles wide and 64 miles long, and it was 16 miles high according to the Garga Samhita. So we have two confirmations, Shastra and Saraputra Prabhu's measurement of mustard seeds. So, but one may wonder, if Govardhan is Krishna's Leela, and the best of devotees, and also sometimes, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is both, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's also in the mood of a devotee. So Govardhan Hill is actually Krishna, but he's also in the mood of a devotee. So how is it possible that Govardhan could be affected by the curse of a mundane yogi? How is it possible? A rishi. Rupa Goswami gives us the answer, that actually Govardhan is not shrinking because of the curse of Palasya Muni. Govardhan Hill is actually shrinking because of separation from Krishna. That's the actual reason Govardhan Hill is shrinking. So just to set the mood, here's the cowherd boys. I remember Dravida Prabhu saying one day, I think it's in one of his poems in one of his classes, he was saying, kids, when their teachers are there and their parents are there, they're a little circumspect. They're acting properly and they're, but when they get out and free, the parents aren't there, the kids aren't, the teachers aren't, they just bust out. And we all know that as children, when you're just out there, so you can imagine the cowherd boys, Mother Yasoda's always following Krishna. Oh, geez, what's the time? And she'll stop him and fix his turban. And he'll get a little bit further. No, wait. And she'll fix his jewelry. And he'll get a little, no, just wait. So in this way, and he's going, Mata, let me go. So all the inhabitants of Vrindavan are following, as they're leaving Vrindavan, because they can't bear to see Krishna and the cowherd boys leave. But finally, they say, Krishna says, that's it, you got to go back. And they turn back, and then the cowherd boys just bust out. So that's the mood. Govardhan Hill, one of its many services, it's Krishna's and the cowherd boys' playground. Here's an example. Then you can see Govardhan Hill in the background. Sometimes Krishna would snatch one boy's lunch bag, and they would pass it around. They would all try to get it back. So many different pastimes. We have activities, mundane though they may be. We're reflections of the Supreme Lord. How can we, the byproduct, not have what the source has? We have pastimes, we have, vacations, we have, sporting events, and those don't exist in the spiritual world? Please share the logic of that. The shadow has 5 fingers because the hand has 5 fingers. So whatever Prabhupada says that tennis was invented, it comes from the queen's pastimes, the queens in Dwarka. So all these things are going on in their pure form. So Balaram read this verse the other day. Govardhan Hill supplies all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. There are caves. This is a modern-day picture of one of the caves in Govardhan. And the cowherd boys, when it would rain, they would go inside. They would make sounds and listen to it echo. Radharani and the gopis would have so many pastimes in these caves. And the stones, when it's summertime, they're nice and cooling for lying down, taking a nap. And when it's cold, Prabhupada said in the spiritual world, in Krishna Loka, it can be daytime and nighttime at the same time. Process that one. Prabhupada said everything's conscious. I was sitting in the room. Prabhupada said the rice will tell you when it's done, and if you're busy doing something else, the garlands will string themselves. So this is the spiritual world. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Perfect. Much appreciated. So the cave, the stones, when it's summertime, because it can be summertime, it can be wintertime, it gives some variety. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. So when it's summertime and it's hot, the stones are cool. When it's wintertime and it's cold, they have a nice warming effect. So everything is perfectly tuned for Krishna's pastimes. So now we get rolling. Krishna noticed, as Raj was saying very nicely today's class, that pride, and we'll get into it in a second, the effects of pride. So Krishna accomplishes many things with one stroke. There's many, many examples, like the battlefield of Kurukshetra, or when Krishna was fleeing from the battlefield, Ranchor. Many, many, many purposes are accomplished with one act. So this is Krishna. So one of his, so many pastimes for Govardhan, but one of them was to curb Indra's pride. It was also to show that there's only one Ishwar. Krishna is the supreme controller. There's so many devas control. Oh, Hinduism, oh, there's so many gods, it's pantheistic. No. Just like I was saying the other day, that what is it, in Christian tradition, they have all kinds of different there's different angels, archangels, cherubs, seraphims. There's all, and they all have different functions. They control different forces in material nature, and they're all assistants of God. You find that in Buddhism, you find it in the Muslim tradition, so that there's many, many agents that control, Krishna says, 33 million demigods controlling everything? But there's the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna. So to show that, that's one of the reasons. Anyway, we don't go too far afield. So, noticing the preparations for Indra, because Nanda Maharaj is saying we're depending on the cows, and the cows depend on grass, and the grass depends on rain. It's the attitude of gratitude. Now people think everything's happening automatically by laws of physics, and we're going to control it. And there's no appreciation for the arrangements of material nature. Anyway, but Krishna saw what was going on, and he made a request. And that request is, instead, we're depending on Govardhan Hill. You just worship Govardhan Hill. Now, Indra has his spies, and he reported that this talkative little boy has convinced the inhabitants of Vrindavan to give up your puja, your annual puja. You don't pay your debt, you don't get the resources, right? You don't pay your gas bill, electrical bill, they shut off the lights. So you're not taking care of Indra. He became very upset. So this is over Vrindavan. Fantastic picture. So the wrath of Indra, his spies reported, and he began to deluge Vrindavan. Now it's described that mountains and thunderbolts are perennial enemies, and usually the mountains are being smashed to bits by the thunderbolts. But in this instance, the thunderbolts of Indra, the most powerful thunderbolts, they were defeated by Govardhan, by the mercy of Krishna. Which means the devotees, in the most difficult situations, by the grace of Krishna, they come out all right. So lifting Govardhan Hill, anyone know? Anyone of the kids know? Which hand did Krishna use to lift Govardhan Hill? Yes?
He used it in his left pinky.
All right, so left hand and left pinky. Krishna is a transcendental show-off. And just to confirm that he's not some kind of course, Krishna is Yogeshwar, he's the master of all mystics. But it wasn't that he had to sit down and meditate and, I was on a morning walk with Prabhupada in Detroit, in Belle Isle Park, and Prabhupada saw one statue, big size, in the park. Prabhupada said, "What is that?" So Prabhupada went off the path, walked over, and it was a statue of Atlas. You know Atlas from Greek and Roman mythology, and he's holding up the earth. You ever seen pictures of Atlas? Oh, and he's sweating. He's got big bulges. He's been working out. He's got big muscle. And, So Prabhupada asked, "What is this?" And the devotee said, "Oh, this is Atlas, and he's holding up the earth." Prabhupada said, "We are not interested in that kind of God. That Krishna has to practice or sweat with his little hand, left finger. Oh, this is just sentiment, folklore." Well, Prabhupada said the mystic power of God is all around us. Open our eyes. All the planets are floating. They cannot explain what gravity is. They can explain how it operates. They can reproduce it. But the actual definition of why gravity works the way it does, they don't know. They actually do. It's one of the mysteries of the same with electricity. They can define it. They can duplicate it. They can manipulate it. But how it actually acts, they don't know. Go home and Google it. So Krishna's floating unlimited. If he can float unlimited planets, to lift one hill is his pastime umbrella. It's not an amazing thing. I mean, it's amazing, but it's not that Krishna can't do it, or it's folklore. So as we know, one of the pastimes is the Brajbasis, their only shelter is Krishna. The devotees know, Yokesh mam vahamyaham. Krishna brings what I have, what I need, And he preserves what I have, and he brings what I lack. Preserves what I have, and he brings what I lack. And Prabhupada's father used to always tell him, Krishna has 100 hands, and you have 2 hands. If someone wants to pick your pocket with 100 hands, how can you stop them with 2? And if Krishna wants to give you with 1 hand, how can you even take it all? So we understand that ultimately everything is going on by Krishna. The most intelligent thing to do, just like the Brajbasis, they could have gotten some mechanical engineer and developed drainage and, prayed to this or that or tried so many things. But they just took shelter of Krishna and everything was successful. So it's an inspiration. It's just take shelter of Krishna. So here you can see, here's Lord Indra. He's giving up in shame. You may wonder, all this water is pouring off, torrential rains. Well, it'll go under, it'll flood. But Krishna had his Sudarshan chakra there, and with the heat of Sudarshan chakra, made everything warm and comfortable and evaporated all the water. Don't worry, Krishna will take care of everything. Just serve him. But when it was time, this is the cowherd boys, they're coming back. Everyone's coming back to Vrindavan after Govardhan. They're feeling very, very blissful. So when Krishna wanted to put down Govardhan Hill, there was a little bit of a debate that Krishna told the cowherd boys that, please, you move out of the way because I've got to put the hill down. And some of the cowherd boys said, you move out of the way. We're the ones holding the hill. You move out of the way and then we'll put it down. So just to assert the actual position, Krishna let them feel a pinch of the weight of the Govardhan Hill. Boom! Knocked them all right out from under the hill and knocked them almost unconscious. So they were very amazed that Krishna's actually holding Govardhan Hill. Although there were a few dissenters that were a little complaining that Krishna, you should have given us more warning that you were going to do that. So it just gives you a flavor. This is what Krishna... Think about it. If the only time you see someone is when they want something from you. Every time they knock on the door, every time they ring you on the phone, hey, can you give me this? I want. That's not love. You don't even like to see such, what do they want this time? I met someone, people say all the time, I pray to God. Big deal. What are you doing for God? I mean, okay, you're pious. I pray to God. Yeah. God, what is it? God give us this day our daily bread. Prabhupada said, that's not love of God, that's love of bread. Or Om Jaya Jagadish Hari, give me a new car and a house by the sea. That's not love. So as Govardhan Hill was going on, there's a spot called, we're going to do a parikrama in a minute, but Anayor, give me more. This is the Anakut Festival that Krishna, all the different villages, all the different inhabitants of all the Braj Bhumi, they all came, each village, each group, they wanted to offer a huge feast. So this is where the Anakut comes from. Krishna held the hill, I was saying this morning, Krishna held Govardhan Hill up for 7 days. Now usually Mother Yasoda feeds Krishna 8 times a day. So they painted a picture of Krishna with, muscles. Prabhupada said, no. He's a little fat from Mother Yasoda's butter. This is Govinda, Mukkanlal, he's stealing butter. So Mother Yasoda feeds Krishna 8 times a day. So 7 times 8 is how much? Anybody know? 56. So Krishna missed 56 meals. So one of the moods of Anakut is we're giving Krishna all the meals that he missed while he was holding Govardhan Hill. And this is Govardhan Hill in our ISKCON Vrindavan. That's a hill. And once they distribute that prasadam, it's like a rugby game. That is right in the temple room. The altar is back here. Hold on so I don't blind somebody. Yeah, the altar is back here. So that's it. Where it goes down. The tamal tree, that is right back here. So after all of his efforts, they say blinded by passion. He was in a blind rage. So after he realized, wait a minute, this is my Supreme Lord, when that passion cooled down, that's one of the reasons we do all the things we do. We rise early in the morning, we follow the regular principles, we chant japa. That has many other reasons, but one of it is to help reduce that blind passion, which you can't even think straight. So after he realized, and here's Krishna's small boy, and Lord Indra. And this is the footprint of Lord Indra's elephant is pressed there in one of the stones, Govardhan. So as we were saying earlier, a little something about pride. Who are we? I was sitting in a class one time and a devotee kept interrupting and he said to Prabhupada, I'm the most there, I'm the most this, I'm the most that. Prabhupada said, actually in this world we're not the most anything. Please sit down. So what are puffed up? Prabhupada says even a pauper is proud. Or Prabhupada. What do we have? Came in naked, and what do we take with us? You know, I don't want to go into it, but people in old age are often in the same condition. They got to wear a diaper, they're drooling, they're dependent on others to even function. As we came in, so we go out. And you can't take a pin with you. And yet we're proud. Oh, when Lord Indra, one of the reasons Lord Indra left in shame, I mean, there's so many things we could be saying, but we're trying to stay within the time limit. When Lord Indra got ready to throw one of his thunderbolts, one of his chief thunderbolts to smash Govardhan Hill, when he went back and got ready, he could not move his arm 1 inch. It was completely frozen. Prabhupada says that, you think you're sitting on the floor, I'm sitting in the hand of Krishna. Everything that happens, the super soul within, Prabhupada says we can't even get out of bed. We can't even breathe without the super soul telling what they call it involuntary muscles, all the things that are going on, how we digest our food, how everything is going. That's all going on by the arrangement of super soul. So Lord Indra was so puffed up, but when Krishna didn't help him, he couldn't even move his arm an inch. So what are we proud of? So this proud, others to glorify us, that it is a great burden. It leads to offenses. We deal roughly with other people. We think, who are you? There's that famous picture of Trump. I don't want to get political, hard to offend anybody, but it was all a group of the different leaders of European nations, about 13 prime minister, president. And you see Bush Trump, and any politician, I'm not picking on him, but you see him he pushes them all out of the way to stand in the front. So this arrogance, I'm big, special, it just leads to offenses. And it's a great burden, because who are we really? To err is human. So trying to maintain this false pride, you just surrender to Krishna and be a humble devotee. It's so much easier and happier. So we see that from Lord Indra. So this is Sarabi Kunj. This is one of the parikrama around Govardhan Hill. And it's a place that you can take a dip. It comes originally from Mother Sarabi when she was bathing Krishna. And it's a place to pray. One of the reasons on this day, and when we're doing Govardhan Parikrama, as we can do here by the nice work of the kids, it's a chance to pray. It's a special portal. It's like a door opens or a channel opens, and some special mercy comes down. So we can pray. And what to pray for, we'll get there in a minute. So as I was saying earlier, Govardhan Hill is Krishna's gift to Srimati Radharani. Govardhan Hill, this is how it's seen by the realized devotees. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, you cannot go to Vrindavan by purchasing a ticket on the Taj Express. There's a train that goes from Delhi to Mathura and it goes on to Agra. It's called the Taj Express. No. You have to have the eyes to see. You have to have the proper adhikari, and that means devotion. But it's there for those who can see. So you'll see these parrots here. It's described in the Gopal Champu by Jiva Goswami? Yeah. That the Radha and Krishna have their, like now the people have these drones and they crash into things and create so many problems. But Radha and Krishna, or they have drone missiles, but Radha and Krishna each have their own fleet of parrots different colors, different missions. And so the cowherd boys are always finding out where the gopis, what are they up to? And the gopis are always finding out where's Krishna, and you'll see why that matters. Sometimes they trap each other. So there's a whole thing going on in Vrindavan. When I first went to Vrindavan, there used to be blue parrots, there used to be red parrots, and then there were the green parrots. Now you can see some of the red ones if you go out to Brindakund, but usually you don't even see them now. So this is the parikram path. We're going to start our parikram now. And it's a time for both doing Govardhan parikram, and here we can do Govardhan parikram and meditating on the pastimes of the Lord. It's not just, oh, that was a nice story, but it's a chance to pray and to contemplate and to reflect. So these are the monkeys, just a few of them. And as you'll see here, they're not little furry friends. What would be Vrindavan without monkeys? Here's a few other residents of Govardhan Hill. This is one of the rare blue deers that live on Govardhan Hill. Those cows, you know, Gopal, Govinda. We're just going to do a few pastimes. Everywhere you go on parikram, there's a blissful little temple or some kund, and they all have sweet pastimes. But we're just going to pick a few because of the time factor. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also did Govardhan parikram in the mood of Srimati Radharani embracing Govardhan Hill. It was like Radharani embracing Krishna. So we're following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Generally speaking, we start our parikram at Kusam Sarovara. Kusam means flower, and Sarovara means lake. So there's so many things happen here, but just a few. This is Radharani under the guise of picking flowers for worshipping the sun god or for worshipping Haridev. The gopis would come to Govardhan Hill. Oh, we're just, we're picking flowers for the puja for the local deities. But it was actually and the cowherd boys, we're going to Govardhan. That's where the grass is good. But it was a secret rendezvous spot. Prabhupada said that Govardhan can open and expand, like a lotus flower opens in the daytime and closes. So when Krishna wants to take a long time to get to Govardhan Hill or a long time to get back, it expands. And when he's in a hurry to get back or to get to Govardhan Hill, it contracts. It can expand and contract like a lotus. So this is an example of after bathing and picking flowers, this is Krishna combing Radharani's hair. And you'll notice that in her mirror, she's not actually looking at what kind of job he's doing. She's meditating on Krishna's beautiful moon-like face. So these are just one of the pastimes. There's another that they're always bathing. You'll see this beautiful lake. Let's go back a little bit. Kusam Sarovar has a beautiful, beautiful lake. And you can imagine it in the actual Leela time. It's filled with sweet nectar. So the gopis and Krishna, and they're bathing there. And so many water sports are going on. So Narada Muni wanted to see these. But in order to do it, he took the form of a gopi. So there's a little temple there where Narada Muni observed the pastimes. So we've moved on to Manasi Ganga. Manasi Ganga is Manasi means mind, and Ganga means, of course, the river Ganga. So when Krishna killed the demon Vatasura, that demon was in the form of a calf. So the gopas, the cowherd boys, said, hey, you killed a calf, even though it was a demon, still it was a calf. We can't play with you. So what to do? They said, well, you've got to become purified. You've got to bathe in Mother Ganga. But Krishna, doesn't want to leave Vrindavan and doesn't want to give up his, go on pilgrim. Of course, he could do it in so many different ways, as we'll see at the creation of Shamakund and Radhakund. So out of his mind, Mother Ganga appeared. The cowherd boys say, this is one of your tricks. We don't know where you're getting this water. So Mother Ganga personally appeared and offered prayers. When they saw Mother Ganga, they said, okay, we believe it. It's actually Ganga Jal. So that's where the Mother Ganga comes from. Manasi Ganga. Now, Sanatana Goswami used to sit on the bank of where Lord Shiva used to also sit and meditate. All the devas have places at Govardhan Hill where they would all come and do parikram and offer their respects and then participate in different pastimes. So where Lord Shiva used to sit, Sanatana Goswami used to sit there. And you can go there. It's right by Haridev Temple. There's a beautiful view of Manasa Ganga. It's usually quite peaceful. The only problem is that there were so many mosquitoes that Sanatana Goswami was going to leave. Then Lord Shiva came first. He said, no, please, that you're chanting japa here and doing your writing here. It's a great honor for me. Lord Shiva, offering respects to Rupa Goswami, says, I'll make sure all the mosquitoes go away. And to this day, you go there, no mosquitoes at night. It's a very mystical place. So also sitting there, you can imagine Sanatana Goswami sitting here and then looking across. Oh, so I should say first that the Goswamis used to meet. Often they would meet at Radha Damodar temple. And they would exchange books that they were writing and different things, themes that they were thinking of developing. They were each other's editors. They would share and discuss. And so Rupa Goswami had written about a pastime of Srimati Radharani and how her braid was like a beautiful black snake climbing up her back. When Rupa Goswami showed that to Sanatana Goswami, he thought, no, Radharani is very delicate and sweet, and you've got a black snake. I don't think this is a proper metaphor. So Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, he saw Sanatana Goswami, his older brother, as his spiritual master. He immediately took it out. So sometime later, Sanatana Goswami is sitting there in deep meditation, and he notices across the Kund, you can imagine across the Kund, he sees these sweet young girls, beautiful girls, laughing and singing and different bhajans about Krishna. They come and they dip in the water, and as they were getting out of the water, he saw up the central girl, the one who was, everyone else was obviously, she was the leader of the party. He saw a black snake climbing up her back. So he started yelling, snake, snake, snake. All of a sudden, she turned to him with a smile, and he saw that was her braid. And immediately, as Prabhupada tells the story, they disappeared. So Sanatana Goswami went right back to Rupa Goswami and says, put it back in. She likes it. She likes that black snake, and you put that back in. So these are the kind of things that happen. The boating pastime, the gopis were on one side, and they wanted to, because it's quite a large lake actually, for Govardhan size. So they wanted to cross the other side, and they wanted to sell. They were going to the market to sell they had their sweets and ghee and so many nice things, yogurt. So to cross over it, somehow or other, there was only one boatman. And he had kind of a funky boat, and he was kind of cranky. So how much does it cost? They bartered back and forth. Finally, they worked it out that he wanted a certain percentage of their milk sweets and their yogurt to get them across. So they agreed. But then when they all got in the boat, the boatman said, I'm really tired. I've been working. I'm really weak. He said, give me an advance payment. I need some milk sweets to get some energy to go. So he woofed his way transcendentally through most of their milk sweets. And then if you eat sumptuously, he said, oh, geez, I'm tired. I got to lie down. So in this way, he's lying down. They're trying to get him to row the boat. Finally, they get him to start rowing. But he says, due to the heavy weight of the gopis and all their milk products, he shows them a hole in the boat, and it's starting to sink. It's filling up with water. What to do? So he told the gopis, the only thing that will save us, you got to throw all your milk products out. So begrudgingly, you'll see from the I'll show the next picture. Begrudgingly, they threw all their milk products out. Still, the boat was sinking. So he said, "Oh, you got to throw all your jewelry out." So they agreed. All right, they're throwing their beautiful gold necklaces and earrings. Still, the boat was starting to sink. So, Krishna, he said, "Well, I think you better take off all your beautiful clothing and silk saris." And the gopis, you can imagine. They said, no, we want to get rid of the weight problem. We're going to throw you out of the boat. So then, they somehow or other the boat stopped sinking. But the next thing that happened is that a storm came up. And the boat, it was rocking and shifting, and it was all Krishna's plan, because when the boat was, Radharani, out of fear, she grabbed onto Krishna. So in this way, the boatman was Krishna in disguise, if you hadn't guessed already. And when Radharani, because she was afraid she was going to fall out of the boat, grabbed him, it was Krishna's trick to get a nice, quick embrace. But when she grabbed him, what did she find? What did she feel? She felt the flute. She said, wait a minute. So then they all had a good laugh. And they had smooth and sweet. Krishna took them all around Radhakunj, all around Manasi Ganga. So that's just a sample. Prabhupada said these pastimes, that's where we're meant to be. We're not meant to be, COVID, lockdown, and maybe let's see what's on Netflix. That's not life. We go to a football game, our team doesn't win, or our team win, we honk. What is that? It's petty, it's paltry, pathetic, actually, compared to what we're actually meant to be. This is where we belong. So this is just a quick one. This is the ISKCON temple. Giriraj Maharaj and Tamal Krishna Maharaj. I saw this before they renovated. It was literally a pile of bricks. And it was built by the Maharaja Bhartpur many, many years ago. What time is it? Okay, we're going to go a little over, but we're okay. And they purchased it and completely renovated the thing. And now we use it for, we do seminars, retreats. It's beautiful. It's right on the Parikram path. A beautiful little garden. So when they were doing the renovation, they found these two rare Shilas. A white Balaram, this is Balaram of course, and a blackish, these are very rare Balaram and Krishna Shilas, and they're worshipped there at our ISKCON temple in Govardhan. So another pastime is that I was saying about the parrots and their transcendental surveillance teams. So the gopis, once again, were walking through a narrow pass on Govardhan Hill, and they were bringing all their products, all their milk products and this and that. So Krishna appeared. Here we see Krishna, and he's blocking their path. And he said, I'm son of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is the king, and you're taking on his path. Therefore, you have to give a toll. You have to give it. And the response by Lalita, Krishna's everyone's praising God. God likes to be defeated sometimes. He likes when people are not just, oh God, give me this, and why didn't you? Not that kind of like Lear shaking our fist on the moor that God, why have you done this? Not that. But out of loving sentiment, this banter. I think that was the word that Raj used. It's a nice word. This banter between, who can defeat who. So Krishna announces, I'm the son of Nanda Maharaj, he's the king of Braj, you have to pay me a tax on behalf of Nanda Maharaj. Lalita responded, our Nanda Maharaj is a very wise king. He would not appoint a thief like you as a tax collector. Krishna was a little taken aback, he didn't know what to say. And the case they made, here it is. That's a picture of the temple and the path they were coming through. So Krishna steals butter. What else does Krishna steal? He steals the gopis' clothing. And by these sweet pastimes, he steals everyone's heart. So that was Lalita's answer. Krishna was stunned by it. Now this is the original Gopal Raj, Srinathji temple. You read in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Madhavinda Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't want to walk on the hill, so the deity came down. Rupa Goswami, all of our Goswamis. They were different. The Muslim soldiers are attacking, so they'd hide the deity in Mathura. That way they didn't have to walk on the hill. So we have all of our Goswamis have an intimate, the deity was known as the Gopal deity until ultimately he was moved for protection from Aurangzeb. He was moved all the way to Natwar by Udaipur in Rajasthan. So this is the original Gopal Raj Srinathji temple. And it's still maintained by the disciples of who was our Ballabhacharya. So this is Madhavinda Puri, reinstalled the deity, because the deity was originally installed by Krishna's great-grandson 5,000 years ago. There's a whole pastime. If you have not read it in Chaitanya Charitamrita, why are you cheating yourself of this wonderful story? So you should read it, Chaitanya Charitamrita. But here this is also the beginning of the Anakut. When they installed the deity, all the villagers coming. So this is the original Srinathji. You saw his temple on top of the Govardhan Hill. And here he is. He's in the mood of he's lifting Govardhan Hill. You can see here the different sages, Sukadev, and so many things are in. Here's the Sarabi cow. Here's Seshanag. As I said, our 6 Goswamis all had the darshan of Sri Gopal. Went the wrong way. Still went the wrong way. Now, we're on the other side of the hill now. This is where Uddhava delivered the message to the gopis. You know, when Uddhava came and delivered the message, the letter from Krishna. So this is where that happened. Now we've come to the end of the parikram. This is Radhakund and Shamakund. This is Shamakund on this side. This is Radhakund on this side. Now, what is their origin? You see, here's Krishna. There's many scenes. Here's Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda talking about the wonderful pastimes of Krishna. Here's the cowherd boys with Krishna going out into the forest. And in that forest, here's Krishna killing the Aristosura demon, a great mystic shapeshifter sent by Kamsa who took the form of a bull. And Krishna killed him. We know the pastime. But the gopis said, well, we're not going to play with you anymore. You killed the bull, just like the cowherd boys when you killed the calf. Now, you killed the bull. Even as a demon, still, you kill the cow. What to do? So Krishna said, what do I do? So they said, hold on. Well, we'll see. The gopis said that you have to bathe in all the holy rivers simultaneously. That's a pretty hard job, right? So, and again, Krishna just stomped his foot in the ground. Immediately, the Kund was created. All the seven holy rivers, they all came, offered full obeisances, and turned into their water forms and went into the Kund. Again, a little hard to argue that they weren't actually there. So then Krishna bathed in it. So then Krishna said, now we bathed, let's play, let's sport. Gopi said, no. All your sin from killing the cow is now gone into Shamakund. We're going to make our own Kund. So with their bracelets, they made, in Yoga Maya, the Radhakund appeared. These lakes are said to be pure Krishna prema. When the devotees first went, we were jumping off the side swimming. Prabhupada heard about no. He said, you should never touch your feet. You just go down, offer respects, and get a few drops of water. And you get pure Krishna prema. So this is from 1850. This is an old picture of Radhakund. So Lord Chaitanya, this is where Lord Chaitanya used to sit and chant japa, looking at Radhakund. If you look at, looking at Shamakund, looking over Shamakund to Radhakund. If you go to Shamakund, it's irregularly shaped, and that's because there's a whole story which we don't have time to go into, how Ragnar Das Goswami, out of his meditation, arranged for the Radhakund and Shamakund to get a footpath around them. But when they were making Shamakund, just as they were about to do the carving, excavating for the pathway, the parikram path around it, Ragnar Das Goswami had a dream. And the Pandavas came to them and they said, no. We're there as 5 trees. We're there by the banks of Shamakund because these pastimes are eternally going on, and we're there for darshan of those pastimes. So therefore, when you look at Shamakund, it goes around these 5 trees because those are the 5 Pandavas. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me, when Prabhupada took them around Shamakund and Radhakund and Parikram, Tamal Krishna was leaning against a tree. It's hot in India for the shade. He's leaning against a tree. Prabhupada said, no, don't lean on that tree. Prabhupada said, that's a Brahma from Maharashtra who's taken birth to watch these pastimes. Everyone's like sorry. So these are mystical places. This is where Jahnavi, the consort of Nityananda, she had a private bathing place. She would come down and bathe here in Radhakund. So Sanatan Goswami, this is Ragnar Das Goswami. And he used to come and take a dip. This is before the excavation. He would come and take a little dip, offer his respects to Shamakund and Radhakund. But there were tigers that used to also come. And the sun was very, very hot, beating down on him. So Radharani used to come and hold her sari over him to protect him from the sun. And here's Krishna coming with this stick for herding cows to chase off the tigers. But he was so absorbed in his bhajan. We were hearing this morning, Raj was explaining how he was in the mood of separation, or he was in the mood, all these different moods were affecting him. So he was completely absorbed in his bhajan, he didn't even notice. But Sanatan Goswami came to visit, and he said, you're chanting Hare Krishna? We were saying earlier, oh, God give me this, God give me that. He said, you're chanting Hare Krishna, but anyone know what Hare Krishna means? It means many things, but one of the things it means, Please give me your service. Please let me be absorbed in your internal energy. You're serving Ras. Please give me a chance to serve you. So Sanatana Goswami said, you're chanting Hare Krishna. Oh, let me serve you. And you're making them serve you. Build yourself a bhajan kutir so you don't have to bother them. This is the mood, you know. We're hoping to get a glimpse. So this is the Samadhi of Ragnar Dastakur. And this is his sitting place where he used to sit and chant japa and write his books. Now we've come to Krishna Das Kaviraj, who was the disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami. And at 90 years plus, he gave us the apex of spiritual understanding. Bhagavad Gita's ABC, even that is profound. The Bhagavatam is PhD. Yeah, and postgraduate is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Either way, the apex of spiritual knowledge is found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj, I'm now become too old and disturbed by invalidity. While writing, my hands tremble. I cannot remember anything, nor can I see or hear properly. Still I write, and this is a great wonder. Actually, he left his body right after he finished it. So his meditation on the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna, that he would only write an hour or so a day. That's all he had the strength for. So that also happened at Radhakund. Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Bhajan Kutir. This is where Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur used to come and perform his bhajan, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would also come with him. And these are the shoes and the cane of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What else happened at Radhakund? Significantly, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada as a young man with his son, they were walking. Right there you saw where the two kunds meet, and there's the bridge between them, that little crossing between them. Right there, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur turned to Srila Prabhupada and said, if you ever get money, print books. We're at Radhakund, as it's described in the Upadeshamrita, the apex of Radha Bhav. And what instruction is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur giving? If you ever get money, print books. Why? How? What's that got to do with Radharani and the gopis? I just want to wear a sari and dance in the bushes. Actually, this is the mood of Srimati Radharani. The mood of Srimati Radharani is to bring everyone to Krishna's service. Here we see, this is great, the same poses. This is what Harinam is. This is what Krishna's Sankirtan movement is. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Srimati Radharani to bring the conditioned souls to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is what we pray for. That let me develop compassion. Let me develop mercy. Let me become a humble servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Not that, I want to hear Krishna's flute. What does that got to do with things? That is not the highest bhav, highest ras. So here we're going to end. People are always looking for a blessing. They're always looking for some secret key to advancement. There is, but they're not secret. What is that secret? What do we learn by meditating on Govardhan Hill? As I was saying earlier, God feed me or let me feed God. What is the mood of the inhabitants of Vrindavan? We're saying, God, give us this daily bread, or Om Jagadishari, give me a car and a house by the sea. But Mother Yasoda's thinking, she's not thinking, what will happen if Krishna doesn't feed me? Okay, that's pious. At least you're going to the right source. But what is Mother Yasoda's meditation? Anyone know? Anyone know why she got upset when the milk spilled over? Yeah, that was special milk. Of course, she was hoping by making nice sweets and nice yogurt, it would curb Krishna from his stealing. She didn't want to become a delinquent. She was a little concerned about that. But the other, it's very nutritious. She's thinking, I have to feed Krishna. So what can I do for Krishna? That's bhav. That's the mood of Radharani. What can I? And that is the mood of the conditioned soul. And that's what actually makes us happy. Instead of pride and arrogance and I want and give and a whole mountain of desires. Let me just desire to serve Krishna. And that all these wonderful pastimes and rasas open up. So that's one thing. The mood of pure, unmotivated devotional service as shown by the inhabitants of Vrindavan. And this service to the Lord and to the devotees as exemplified by Govardhan Hill. Prabhupada said, love me. Hey, we're almost done. Prabhupada said, love me, love my dog. How do you approach, what do they say? What do you give to the man who has everything? What can you buy him? He's got everything. If you have a rich man, but you make friends with his son, you pat his dog, of course we don't pat dogs, but you pat his dog, immediately, how are you, sir? You become his friend. So the secret to we see that what was the mood of Govardhan Hill? The mood of Govardhan Hill was he was always meditating on different ways to please and serve the devotees. So if we accept that mood of how can I serve the Vaishnavas, and we take up the mood of Srimati Radharani and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how to deliver the conditioned souls, those are the keys that open the house of bhakti and lead to pure Krishna prema. So we can in there, what would a presentation about Govardhan Hill without a picture of Radha Giridhari? And Prabhupada said, Krishna's Vanamali, he likes to be dressed in forest flowers. So there we are. Thank you for your patience. We're a little over time, but I hope it's not too bad. All glories to Shri Shri Radha Giridhari and Govardhan Hill. Hare Krishna. We can hit the lights, and what happens next?